Volkswagen Clipper, Clipper, it's not very quick.
It's an automatic.
Volkswagen Clipper, Clipper, it's not very fast,
but it's built to last.
Volkswagen Clipper.
Hi, Clipper. Hey, Paul, it's not the bailiffs, it's Clipper.
No?
Look, it's Clipper. Clipper's here. What is it, Clipper? What's that you say? Mr. Jeffrey Carlson's tripped over his wallet and can't get up. Paul, we have to go right away. No time for that cup of bleach. Come on.
I have fallen over and I can't get up.
Don't worry, Mr. Jeffrey Carlson. We'll have you up in 2 ticks. And 1, 2. Maybe not.
They've gone, haven't they?
Mind-blowing facts to come.
Well, you say that.
I did.
You know, 1 week ago, we were in yet another convertible. Why are we always in a convertible? Is the universe trying to tell us something, Paul?
That's way too cabriolet for my liking.
We are not homophobes. Did you see that Philip Schofield and Eamon Holmes are having a real go at each other this week? And I thought, oh, that Philip Schofield, he's so homophobic.
That was a joke, and I got it.
Good. Do you know what? This is an absolutely cracking car. It feels great. How old is it now? 1990. It's 34 years old. Wow.
It just about qualifies, doesn't it? Because it is a 1990 on a G.
Yep. My dad had a sport jacket in this exact fabric that we're sat on.
Yeah, this particular pattern was used lots in the 70s.
And it had leather covered buttons. Do you remember them? Do you remember when people thought that was a good idea on a man's coat or jacket?
It was a good idea.
You know Noel Edmonds?
Yep.
Former Top Gear presenter, as well as like all the other stuff, you know, like House Party, Deal or No Deal, Multicoloured Swap Shop. Are you old enough for Multicoloured Swap Shop?
I do remember it.
He famously wears odd shoes, doesn't he? Have you noticed that?
No, but it doesn't surprise me with some of the other things you said.
Okay, no, you say that.
I did.
But you're the man who famously drives around in a car with all the body panels different colours.
Yeah.
Right, well, Noel Edmonds always wears like 1 blue trainer and like 1 brown suede rogue, or 1 black pixie boot a la Nick Kershaw style pixie boot, and 1 blue suede brothel creeper. Are you allowed to say brothel creeper? Have you got to like make that more acceptable for a 21st century audience? Bordello slip-on. Shall I say that?
Go on, yeah.
Cat house slipper.
Are you about to say that he does it for effect rather than just because that's his style?
No, it's to do with his beliefs. And one of his beliefs is that if he wants something to happen in his life, he writes it on his hand. Have you not heard of this?
Yeah.
No, he writes it on his hand, and then if he absolutely 100% believes it, it'll happen. Yeah?
Well, does he actually take into account all the things that he wants to happen and doesn't happen?
Well, I think we should start doing it. I'm thinking, apart from being an ex-Top Gear presenter, the only thing I have in common with Noel Edmonds, well, I don't have anything in common with Noel Edmonds because he's like still on telly and insanely rich.
Yeah, and
whereas I'm sat next to you in this. Anyway, back to Noel, who I co-presented a show. 21 years of Top Gear. Top Gear started. First mention of Top Gear.
Yeah, didn't take long.
Of course, it didn't take long. Why do you think anybody's watching this channel? They're not watching it for you, are they, mate?
Some of them are.
I didn't mean that. That was a joke. They might be. They might have a fetish. You know, like bears. And I don't mean actual, like, bears. Bears. You know about bears, don't you? I'm not going to have to explain it.
No, not again, no. Let's smooth over that particular bear thing.
I don't want to drive along on a sunny day in a cabriolet and explain the bear phenomena to you. I'd rather not.
Well, I wasn't asking you to do.
Good, because I'm not going to.
I think actually you wanted me to do.
No. So me and Noel, right, here's the thing that I'd like us to have in common. I can write something on the back of my hand and then it comes true. Like, Big in the 90s blows up and all of a sudden there's a big in the 90s festival and everybody brings their 90s car and their 90s motorbike and we have 90s acts playing. Like, who would we have on at the Big in the 90s big festival when we're like hugely successful and loads of people love us?
Suede.
Who would Suede?
Yeah.
I think that's the last live band I saw. I saw Suede, they were great.
Well, I mean, not only big in the 90s, but probably the best of the 90s.
No. The answer to the question, Blur or Oasis, is The Prodigy. That's how simple that is. Right? And Suede were good, but they weren't The Prodigy. The Prodigy were absolutely... Oh. Yeah, perhaps we could have, like, Wigfield.
Wigfield?
Yeah. You know, Saturday night. Wigfield. Do you know that was the first record she ever made? And at the time, yeah, that was the first record she made.
And the last?
No, not the last, because obviously it wouldn't be the last, because, you know, if it... And do you know that stopped from achieving a record? Not a record, a record.
Somebody a lot more credible.
Well, do you remember Love Is All Around, Wet, Wet, Wet?
Oh, yeah.
Right, that was going to be at number one for longer than Bryan Adams.
Oh, look, a peanut.
A what?
A peanut.
What do you mean a peanut?
Over there.
I can't... Why are you telling me to not concentrate on my driving? It's bad enough that I have to remember these rambling anecdotes without having you distracting me all the time. Anyway.
Carry on.
Saturday night, Wigfield was knocked Love Is All Around, Wet, Wet, Wet off the number one. And it stopped Wet, Wet, Wet from deposing Bryan Adams as the longest at number one. And do you know I met shortly afterwards who was a bit annoyed about that?
Paul Weller.
No, Reg Presley. Do you know who Reg Presley is?
Is he...
Take a guess. If you were annoyed that Love Is All Around had got knocked off the number one spot and you weren't Marty Pelor, God, he simped Marty Pelor, didn't he? That's what the young people say now, simps. It's like the opposite of us two, mate.
Yeah, I know it's...
Yeah. But he was a... I mean, he's probably a nice bloke. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Like, Wet, Wet, Wet got their title from a song by Scritti Politti. Tears Were Wet, Wet, Wet. It's a line out of one of their songs. And Scritti Politti were pretty avant-garde at the time, and yet Wet, Wet, Wet were about as chart-friendly as you could possibly be, weren't they? We're really getting off the subject here. I don't know why you do this to me, Paul. I try and just stick to the facts. But don't you think it's weird that, having mentioned the fact that Morrissey used to drive around Hale in Cheshire, where I used to work, rather oddly, there was a motorbike magazine publisher based in Hale, when Hale was where all the Manchester United players and all the Coronation Street lot and all the people with any sort of money in Manchester, it was like the Mancunian equivalent of like Virginia Water or somewhere like that in Surrey. You know, like there's a Mere Country Club and all that, and there were loads of people wafting about in Mercedes SLs and all that business. You know, that sort of place. And yeah, there was a motorbike magazine publisher right there in the centre of Hale. And I used to see Morrissey from the Smiths driving round in one of these in all white with a white interior, white hood, white wheels. White wheels. I mentioned it in the last video.
You did?
And then a week later we're sat in one, a VW Cabriolet, a Carman built, Carman, like the Carman gear. Guess who owns Carman now?
I don't know, but are we going to write something on our hands?
Yeah, and then something will happen.
What'll happen.
And then it'll happen.
I'm going to draw a helicopter on
A
mine.
helicopter?
I don't want one.
But you got to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it could be like an episode of The Twilight Zone where we realise that if we write something on our hand, it'll happen. And then one of us uses that power irresponsibly. And I'm guessing it's me that uses it irresponsibly. Do you know what I'd write on my hand if I could write anything and make it happen?
I think you should tell me.
Linda Carter. Do you remember original Wonder Woman?
I do, yeah.
That's-
I was too young to appreciate what you were about to tell me.
Best looking woman that's ever lived. I'm telling you. Absolutely mesmerisingly beautiful. Oh my goodness me, I nearly swore then. Apart from the missus, of course, he said immediately. Not that she watches these.
Does she not?
No,
Mine
she's
does.
no. Your missus watches our videos.
Yeah.
Right, look at our videos, Paul, and then whatever you do, don't read the comments, but just look at the usernames. It's all Colin and Ian and Simon. It's no ladies. Some of these sheep are white, and some of these sheep black. Some of these sheep are brown, but you never hear the expression, the brown sheep of the family, do you? Why?
No. No.
Why?
No.
Ooh, a train. Because what is a classic car? Once upon a time it meant something really old, didn't it?
Yeah.
It didn't mean something 30... Well, actually, I'm wrong. Because this car's 34 years old. Wow. So, not that long ago, when people said a classic car, they meant something pre-war. But pre-war was 35 years ago, wasn't it? You know, in
Yeah.
sort of...
Yeah, things move.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't rely on stuff to stay the same.
Because we've been and borrowed it from where it's in storage, and the cars that are around it in storage were what everyone used to think was a classic car. Like
But this was new.
yeah, like Morris Minors. Literally, Morris Minors. We moved out to Morris Minors. Buying, you didn't stop it to sell her. So the mind-blowing fact that I'm absolutely desperate to tell you, Paul, about the universe and the way it works is this. In our last video, which is about a Lotus, for some reason you dragged me off topic, like you always do, and I ended up banging on about the VW Clipper. We've ended up in a VW Clipper. However, when we were talking about the Lotus, and you said that James Corden might have owned one.
It was a joke.
You did own one, don't you?
What, the Lotus?
Yeah, Liam out of the Prodigy. We just mentioned the Prodigy.
Wow!
Liam out of the Prodigy. Liam Howlett, the talented one. They were all talented, but he was the most talented. Out of the Prodigy had a Lotus Elan Turbo M100. But we got on to talking about Colin Chapman,
Yeah.
the talented, mercurial, controversial Colin Chapman. And I suggested, who did I suggest should play in the biopic of his life?
Tom somebody.
No.
The other guy from Gavin and Stacey.
What is the other guy from Gavin and Stacey's name? Paul, you hairy Wookie. What is his name?
I've forgotten.
Right.
I forget a lot of things.
Well, who had a VW Clipper back in the day?
Morrissey.
No! We've established that! Dear God! Have you got some sort of undiscovered brain injury that you've not told me about? Did you fall out of a tree when you were little? I didn't think Wookiees could climb. I thought they were strictly land-based creatures.
Matthew Horn.
Matthew Horn had a VW Clipper. I've seen a picture last night.
Oh, are we doing this section now?
No! All I'm saying is, what kind of absolutely crazy coincidence is that? But I don't think it is. I think, right, here's what I think. I think people like us consume media, whether it be film, television, music, whatever it is, and we recognise other petrol heads. We think, yeah, I bet he's into his motors, that guy. We do. I think we do it without thinking. We know who would be.
This is a petrol head car.
Yeah, but of a specific kind. It's the ultimate, oh, I've just got a car. It's like a German writer whose name I can't remember now, and I desperately tried to memorise it, and I can't remember it. But I can remember the title of his book. He wrote a book called Generation Golf, and 6 million Germans bought it. Nobody else, but 6 million Germans. And it was about the generation born between 1970 and 1985. And if I can give you the whole point of it and relate it to this car, which I'm desperately going to try and do, is that Golf drivers are deliberately driving Golfs because they want to make it look like they're not trying too hard. And the whole point of Generation Golf, those Germans born between 70 and 85, was that they were absolutely sick to death of their activist, nuclear power, Nine Danker, the Angry Brigade, Bader Meinhof, all their activist mums and dads with their 3/4 length toffee-coloured leather jackets, like throwing bricks at the Reichstag and burning things down and getting into all sorts of lefty Maoist trouble. They just wanted a quiet life, Generation Golf. They were like, we just want a quiet life. And we want to drive a Volkswagen Golf because it just works. And it's not show-offy. It's conservative with a small c.
I've got something to say.
I've got something, like Billy Ocean. He had something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
Paul O'Grady.
Hey, Malcolm! I'm tearing up here. Do you know what? I was surprised when he died. Because he looked like a very trim gentleman. I thought he was the sort of bloke that had lived much... Hey, look at this. Look at this.
What, wind down windows?
Wind down windows. We've got an electric roof. Do you know why we've got an electric roof?
Because it's heavy.
Because... Yeah, I think so. It'd be too heavy, wouldn't it? It's not like on a 2-seater car. Is this a 5-seater? It's not, is it? Because look, it's got like bucket seats.
It's a 4-seater.
Very much a 4. Hello, I'm Alistair McTwat again, and my ridiculously overinflated sense of self-importance has been deemed perfect for the following advertisement. Do you lie awake at night worrying that Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs, yeah, I know he's dead, and Elon Musk are all obsessed with everything that you watch, everywhere you go, and everything that you buy? Well, you're right, they are. Secure your digital identification with DigiWank, only from Ronco. Give us all of your information and we absolutely promise that we won't sell it to our mate Tibor from Tirana. Although I'll tell you something, this lad knows how to throw a party. DigiWank, the digital bank, only from Ronco.
Now back to the car.
That's your idea of an Albanian accent.
Who would you want? I'm from bloody Rochdale.
That's the best you can do. "34 years old. Look at that. Giorgetto Giugiaro's folded paper design. Origami. Paul, does this car look modern to you?
No.
It does to me. Compared to what came before, which is, of course, with the Beetle. The Beetle Cabriolet. The Carmen of Osnabrück, Germany. Carmen built over 1 million cars. When they went bust about 20 years ago, guess who bought them? Webasto. Now, like me, did you think that Webasto were a lovely British company based somewhere like, I would imagine, Buckinghamshire, or in my head, Lincolnshire or somewhere like that? Webasto. Did you think they were a British company?
I just thought they had to do with diesel heaters.
German company, and they bought Carmen. Carmen built over 1 million cars, especially like the Carmen Ghia, and of course they built a Chrysler Crossfire. No wonder they went bust. Do you remember that one that looked like a shitting dog? The Chrysler Crossfire. They built them. Now, of course, there have been attempts. This is a Mark 1, based on a Mark 1 Golf, 1.8 litre, 88 brake horsepower. I would have said about 90 horsepower, but Paul would have corrected me and gone, I think you'll find it's 88, wouldn't you?
No.
Yes, you would.
I wouldn't.
You always do. When I round it up a bit, just for the sake of brevity, the whole brevity thing, you then go, you'd say it's like 1 more or 1 less. Yeah, 88 brake horsepower.
We like things to be correct.
And look at that. Where the windscreen wipers would have gone
Good left-hand drive.
On the left-hand drive one, and they couldn't be bothered. They'd run out of those panels in right-hand drive. People that have Mark 1 Golfs will be saying, I think you'll find they're all like that, Mr. Berry. I bet they aren't. I bet there was a right-hand drive, a left-hand drive. Anyway, they'd run out, so they used this one. A radical departure from what came before. And they, whoever they are, I saw something with Quentin Tarantino the other day, and he was saying, who are they? Who is this they? They is the consensus. And when a car gets to a certain age, there's a consensus about what it is, what it was, what it represents. And they say that the secret of the German motor industry's success was to blend the known with the unknown, the old with the new, tried and trusted technology with cutting edge technology. And yet, the Mark 1 Golf and everything about it, and this is essentially a Mark 1 Golf apart from the foldy roof bit, the Mark 1 Golf was anything but that. It was all new. The Beetle was rear engine, this is front engine. The Beetle was air cooled, this is water cooled. The Beetle was a boxer 4, this is an inline transversely mounted 4. And the Beetle was rear wheel drive and this is front wheel drive. It was nothing to do with the old. Everything about it was new. And yet, it was a massive success. And it is an iconic design. Yeah, the I word again. Sorry about the overuse of iconic, but you know, what are you going to do? Are you coming or what? Come on. Are you British?
Yes, I am.
If I had to guess that you were a different race, do you know what I think you were?
Portuguese?
No, you're a bit of a Viking. I think you're Portuguese. No, you look like a Northman. I could see you in one of those helmets that had horns on, even though the Vikings didn't wear those helmets with horns on. We know that.
I can see that being one of our props at some point.
There's very little scuttle shake in this car. Have you noticed?
Well, I'm not driving it, so it's a bit difficult to tell.
What do you mean it's difficult to tell? If the car's shaking, you can tell whether you're driving or not, can't you?
Yeah, but you feel that kind of thing more than see it.
What I was going to say, oh, look at those brooding clouds over there.
Over by Pendle Hill.
Yeah, when the sheep lie down, you know there's going to be trouble, don't you?
I thought it was cows.
No, they're definitely sheep. You can tell, they're fluffy. Cows aren't fluffy generally.
Yeah.
Fluffy cows.
Oh.
There are fluffy cows, aren't there? There's some in Heaton Park near me. You know those Scottish
They're not
ones?
actually fluffy, they're hairy, aren't they?
There's a fluffy dog.
But it's hairy.
A bearded collie.
Dogs don't have hair. I mean, fluff.
What do you mean dogs don't have hair? Paul,
I don't mean that.
You don't have to say some random shit, mate. No, but what I'm saying is, as Brits, oh, look at that, a lovely scooter that's just been abandoned for some reason. Oh, it's a Royal Ally, it's not a lovely one. Are you all right, mate? You okay now, mate? Yeah, good, no worries. Sorry, I just thought the scooter man might need some assistance.
And he doesn't.
Ain't it funny? Somebody on an old Lambretta like that back in the day was almost certainly aged between like 15 and 19, and now he's almost certainly aged between like 50 and 65. It's the same lad, except it's like 40 years later.
Let's get to the point.
All right, don't rush me. As Brits, we tend to associate open-top motoring with sportiness, but that is not necessarily what the rest of the world thinks, is it?
No.
And often, open-top motoring can be like the French. It could be like a 2CV. Would you say like a 2CV was open-top, even though it's sort of just the roof and not really the sides?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
But it's not sporty, no.
Well, the French don't mind making a distinctly unsporty and yet open-top motor car, and neither do the Germans. This car has got a 1.8 litre 4-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive, 88 brake horsepower, It's not a lot, is it, Paul?
Yeah, it's about 90, isn't it?
Listen, mate, if you're going to try and be funny, you're going to have to warn me, okay? You know, like the sort of music where somebody goes, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 music.
No.
And you just think, wow, look at that. A lovely... they used to advertise cars like that in the 90s, didn't they? They used to show a lifestyle where people... Thank you, Paul. Wow.
Which we won't be, that wasp gets us. Did you see it?
What wasp?
There was a big wasp just there, then.
You're not scared of wasps, are you?
I'm scared of being stung by
Look
one.
at the size of you compared to a wasp.
I'll kick its head in.
If anyone should be scared, it's the wasp. No, but I'm saying, I don't see cars being advertised like that now. Car advertising always looks really sort of serious, whereas car advertising back in the day for something like this would have been carefree, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would have been la 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 la, let's go to the beach and have a lovely time. We don't have to work because we've got money for some reason.
Frolicking around all day and having a great time.
Beach balls.
Beach
balls and like...
What, picnics? Hang on.
No, beach balls.
Beach balls.
Tricycles.
Hula hoops.
Tricycle.
Like that wasp, which would have been carefree and having an open top car.
A wasp.
Gets in.
A wasp on a tricycle.
But because it's a wasp, it doesn't realise it can get straight back out and still panics.
What a good car. Look at this dashboard. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that with all those like
Sweets.
those they're like, it's like a blister pack of LEDs that light up to tell you bad things. Something bad. Hey, have you heard the horn on this?
Not yet. Oh, it's a proper one.
It's quite Germanic, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's shouting.
Yeah, it's like, out of the way!
Oh, look, a Mini.
A Mini. And do you know what I don't like on Minis? Wide wheels. I think Mini owners will go, oh, you know what you're talking about? Yes, I do. My second car was a Mini, and I had my lovely Di Tommaso Mini. I had a Di Tommaso Mini.
Did you?
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. And I kept the standard wheel, and the standard wheels, which were alloys on the Di Tommaso, of course, they work great. Lancashire shoes, handmade shoes in Lancashire. I've got their shoes, they're great. My point being, this car epitomises that kind of carefree vibe that was going on in the 90s, and people that bought it, it's got an automatic gearbox, right? So I'm going to say something now. See if you want to go with me on this, Paul. You can disassociate yourself from this statement if you care to. Girl's car. Girl's car?
Yeah.
But it's got
girl's car?
Yeah, girl's car.
Or two men car?
Well, it could be a girl's car or a man's car, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this. At the time, I think this would have been the sort... Right, so we haven't even asked the question, but I'm going to say who would have had it at the time, back in the day, and I'm going to say one of those It girls. Do you remember It girls in the 90s?
Tara Palmer Tompkins.
And Tamara Beckwith.
Yeah, but they'd have had something a bit posh, wouldn't they?
This is posh. It's a Golf. Do you not remember that? What was she called? Paula Hamilton. This is the car for the... Do you remember? She had a fur coat and she left it in a bin. There was a famous... which is what should happen to all fur coats. There was, said the man wearing a leather jacket. Yeah. Hypocrisy. We can't even spell it in his... Why is it that all my mates that run garages and work as mechanics or work on cars or motorcycles have all got like an artistic side hustle? Do you think that working on cars brings out your creative side, Paul?
Normally,
they're all like
it from happening at all.
All my mates who all have garages, mainly that have their own place, their independent car or motorcycle garages, have a side hustle as DJs, musicians, children's entertainers. I'm telling you, children's entertainers, magicians. Also, oh yeah, I've got this other thing. Oh yeah. I think
Circus clowns.
No one's a circus clown. We're clowns, obviously. Isn't it weird that we went to see people who sell really posh cars, but they love our Big in the 90s channel, and they both watch it, even though they sell super duper posh cars.
It's nice when you turn up somewhere
And they
before and they know you are, yeah.
Yeah, and they can tell what we've done because they're saying, oh, that bit that you did about such and such. Because you always know when somebody's not actually watched it. Like my missus hasn't watched it. I could say anything about her right now, but it's fine because she'll never watch this. Yeah. Anyway, the point was, this car is determinedly non-sporting. It has no pretensions towards performance of any kind, does it? You wouldn't pair an 88 horsepower 1.8 litre, is it a 1.8? It is, isn't it? An 88 horsepower. You wouldn't pair it with a off camera, I'm going to have to chat with you about this humour thing that you keep trying.
Oh, look at that over there.
Stop that. Oh, that Mercedes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, that was cool. But not 90s.
No, but still
W124.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 123.
123.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. See, so I keep slipping into Bob Danvers Walker in real life. I keep going into places and going, excuse me, my good man.
Yeah.
Do you remember when people used to talk like that?
Well, no.
And here we are, a good one. There were wacky versions of the Golf all over the world. I think the Mark 1 kept going in South Africa long after it had been discontinued just about everywhere else. It was called the City Golf. And just recently, I was in Canada, and mind this is, because the Alpha is, it's recovering at the moment, the Alpha. She borrowed a friend's City Golf, and I was trying to deal with its electrical maladies, but I couldn't work out which version of the Golf it was, because I was looking at this Canadian Volkswagen Golf, and I couldn't work out whether it was a Mark III or a Mark IV. And do you know what it was? It was a Mark III.5, which was Canadian market only. Because it had the wrong back lights, and it was one of the things that was wrong with it was the back lights weren't working. So I kept looking at other people's videos. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to show you how to fix all the faults on a Mark III Golf. And I was going, but at the front it's Reed. Look, there's a place called Reed, and there's a place up here. There's a place up from here called Fence. Reed, Fence. The town, the hamlets are named after instructions. This is the difference between the north and the south of England, isn't it? Up north, Reed, Fence, there's a place not far from you called Triangle, isn't there?
Yeah.
Triangle. Down south, Stone Market on the Swarf or something like that. It's like, yeah, whatever.
On the Swarf.
On the Swarf.
Simonstone.
Ashby Della's, yeah, Simonstone, or Simonstone as we actually call it.
Yeah.
It's always funny when they get an announcer talking about gives you the travel information, and they get all the northern pronunciations wrong, but they don't care. We know you don't care.
What would have competed with this at the time?
I don't think the people that were in the market for one of these were in the market for an Astra or Escort Cabriolet, do you?
No, but the Mark II Astra, I would say was probably...
Were they Bertoni built, the Mark II Cabriolets?
No, that was
Mark,
4, wasn't it?
Mark II Astra.
Yeah. No. So
Well,
that's answered the
built
question.
in Luton originally, and then shit now, and then off comes the roof and various other modifications.
So, in other words, there probably wasn't really any direct competition with this.
Well, I was going to say that. I don't think there was.
Yeah.
I think that the people who looked at the price of one of these and thought that seems eminently reasonable were all people who didn't need to worry too much about how much it cost. Whereas folk on a budget, they would have been looking at the Escort or the Astra, wouldn't they? If they were thinking, oh, I fancy a bit of open top motoring, but I sometimes need a back seat. Oh, and I need a dealership like relatively close to me rather than God knows wherever. They would have bought a Ford or a Vauxhall. I don't think Tamara and Tara would have had Mind you, old Princess Di, Lady Di as she was then, wasn't she? She had an escort cab, didn't she?
And before that, she had a Metro.
Yeah, but not a cabriolet. Paul Wookie, hairy man, who do you think would have owned? Who do you think would have owned one then?
Danny LaRue.
Danny LaRue had like a shad, like every single.
I've already given you my answer to that.
Danny
anyway.
LaRue had a shad, like every single person who wore pale lemon slacks and worked in light entertainment, like Larry Grayson and Stanley Baxter and all them other people. They all had, and Tarby and Brucey, they all had a shad or a Jensen Interceptor, didn't they?
Yeah, the problem is most proper celebrities just had a Bentley or a Rolls anyway, didn't they?
I've just said a shad, a silver shadow. Which bit of shad aren't you getting?
Yeah, I'm just talking over you.
An it girl like Tamara or Tara would have had one of these.
Yeah.
And they would have been seen parking it badly outside. Where did they go? Tramp in London. I've been there.
I have.
Yeah, I went to Tramp. No, I went to Annabelle's, that was it. Tramp with Rod Stewart and Joe Collins.
Oh,
What?
I can imagine Rod having one of these actually.
Well, that's worse than James Corden having a Lotus. Rod turned up in a Miura and threw the keys at him and went, "Park that for my son and make me a cup of tea." And he said, I think the sportiest car he'd driven up until then was like his dad's Anglia, and Rod, an orange Lamborghini Miura. Rod had Lamborghinis from like the Miura onwards. You think he would have driven one of these?
Proper celebrities would have at one point wanted a bit of anonymity. So all they had to do is drive this, put a different wig on.
Yeah, but there's a lot of snobbery that goes on with one of these, mate. It's people are making a statement. They're giving it that, oh, I'm not really interested in cars. I'm not bothered. Oh, I just have a Golf.
Well, that'd have been perfect then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but the people that are like that are being just as deliberate and just as discerning as people who go out of the way to buy something really sporty and exotic, aren't they? They're making exactly like the same statement the people who wear those really expensive clothes that don't have any sort of branding on them or anything like that, and it just looks like a black jumper, and then you realise that it's from like Bottega Venezia or whatever the bloody well called, and it costs 1,500 quid for a jumper, when you could just go to like, I'm trying to name a shop, and I was going to say Primark, but I've never actually been in a Primark. Of course I haven't been in a Primark, look at me.
Yeah, well,
I think this is Primark.
you're missing something very exciting then.
Damson.
Yeah, all right.
Shall we say Damson?
Let's say Damson.
I feel in this little video of ours, Paul, that we've not really talked too much about how this car drives. But I think that's the point of the car. Because the car was...
doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. The people who bought one of these weren't interested in how it drove. It moves from A to B, and it does it in an unfussy, unannoying way. Like I said, it sort of drives itself. There's nothing exciting about driving it, but it does feel like genuine quality. And 34 years in and 95,000 miles down the road, look how good it is. Look at the interior, mate.
Yeah, it's not rattly, is it?
At all. Yeah, but there's nowhere. There's nowhere on the steering wheel. There's nowhere on the seats. There's nowhere on the door cards. How? I'll tell you how. Because everything's high quality. I said, have you noticed though that this car's had a calming effect on me? It's had a calming effect on me.
Yeah.
I've calmed right down.
It was much funnier first time.
Oh, God. Well, that's the problem with your attempts at humour, mate. Go on, say it.
Now back to the car.
That's the best you could do. That's your idea of an Albanian accent, is it?
It's all right. It'll do, won't it?
No, it won't do.
Of course it'll do.
God.
You do it then.
Oh, you're right, yeah. I have no idea what an Albanian accent is. Welcome back to the channel. Why did they say that? It's the first time I've ever watched, it's the first and last time I've ever watched one of your videos. So why are you starting off by saying, welcome back to the channel, and then asking me to like something, and I've been watching your video for 5 seconds, and already I think I hate it, right? So don't ask me to like it after 5 seconds. Do you know what we're not going to do on here, Paul? Ever? We're not going to ask people to like us. We don't care if you like, well, I don't. I don't care if you like us. If you like us, great. If you don't like us, you know, fuck. Paul will bleep that out.
I won't.
I think. Well, I hope he does.
I'm going to stop doing that. Yeah.
Oh, car.
Back to the car. Back to the car. Back to the car.
Back to the car.
Back to the car. No, back to the car.
Probably sounds something like this. Now back to stolen Mercedes. No. Hi, Clipper. Hey, Paul, it's not the bailiffs, it's Clipper.
What?
Hi, Clipper, what is it? Mr. Jeffrey Coulson's tripped over his wallet and can't get up. Paul, we better go right away.
Yeah, we better go. 2 horses came over to say hello.